Today, I'm going to talk about the Fife opening, which is 11-15, 23-19, 9-14, 22-17, and 5-9, which is a great and aggressive opening to try out and play in your own games. The particular variation I'm going to show is a famous man down line, which isn't seen too often in modern play because of its risky nature. But it was contested in the 1980 National between former world champion Asa Long with the red pieces and his opponent Jerry Ingram with the white side in what ended up being one of the most thrilling games of the tournament. So let's go through it. Okay, so again, the Fife 11-15, 23-19, and 9-14. This was the opening that was balloted. And Jerry Ingram, instead of playing Defiance, which is 27-23 here, he played 22-17, and then Asa Long decided to play 5-9. Asa had drawn a lot of his games prior to this point in the tournament. And then again, the 17-13, instead of the more maybe restrictive variation, which I talk about in another video with 26-23, but instead allowing the gambit line and then the very powerful 14-18. So now we have the 3 for 2. After 19-16, we have now the shot. And red is going to play a piece down, but as I've talked about time and time again, position beats possession, and even though red is a piece down, white has its pieces fairly to the side of the board, and red dominates the center. Checker Cycle covers this 8-11 variation, and I'll link to his video because it's a great variation to play. This 15-18 is what was played in this game, and it's also very good. And white is just going to knock the pieces down. So it's going to go 25-22 and cut the piece down. And then again, red is going to advance with 10-14. White, again, is just going to cut this piece down. After 8-11, now Jerry Ingram at this point plays an obscure variation which was published, but it wasn't seen very often, and that's this 21-17. 32-27 is probably a little bit more natural, maybe what was seen and what was Asa Long was expecting to be played, but instead this 21-17 is played. 7-10, 31-26 to start developing its back row. 4-8, and now white is going to make a beeline for the double corner to stuff all the pieces on the right side of the board with 18-14 first, 10-15, and then 14-9. Asa plays 3-7, and then Jerry follows with 26-23. Now this natural 15-19 move may look best for the 2 for 2, but this will actually lose as white will develop 28-24 and then eventually suffocate red's pieces. So Asa does not play this move. Very tempting, but this move will lose. And instead the 8-12, which is correct, is played. And then Jerry plays 24-20. Now this is a very important juncture in the game. This natural 15-19 will draw. Asa goes down 2 pieces at this point in the game with this pitch of 15-18, which will lose, although this game ended up drawing, this will lose, and it's a fascinating look at how this played out. So red is now 2 pieces down, but both sides need to tread carefully here. Asa will start developing out of the double corner with 6-10, and then white follows with 32-27, 10-15, 28-24, and now again very limited. red is going to start advancing with 15 to 18. At this point, white is going to give one piece back because now you have the piece on 18 and allows for 9 to 6. Ace captures 1 to 10. And then white goes 14 to 9, looking to exchange off the piece on 2 in the next move. Red goes 10-15, looking to capture the vulnerable piece on 24. So now white exchanges. And now the plan is in motion to capture the piece on 24 and remain equal in the total number of pieces. White goes 17-14, and now 16-19. White is going to crown. Red captures. And now 2 to 6, threatening the pieces on 7 and 15. And red goes 15 to 19. It's hard to fault Jerry here. It's very difficult to beat a world champion, of course, and he was also under quite a bit of time pressure. So Jerry played 6-10, which will ultimately draw. Instead, this 27 to 24 will win. If 11-15 is played, white can go 20 to 16 next, and then if red crowns, 24 to 20 will win because the piece on 7 is completely surrounded. And instead, if we go back, if 19 to 23 is played, then 24 to 19, 18 to 22, and then 19 to 16 will have the same result, completely trapping the piece on 7. But instead, this 6-10 was played in the game, and then ace of crowns capturing the piece on 27 next. White goes 3 to 8, and then after 11-15, 8-11, and then red has the safety of getting away and the game was declared a draw. But let's go back earlier where Asa had that 15 to 19 instead of that extra pitch of 15 to 18 and see how the game could have drawn another way. Okay, now we're back at this critical position in the game where Asa played 15 to 18, going 2 pieces down, but this 15 to 19 will draw. But there's some difficulty in the ending that Asa feared, but it's really instructive to show, and I think you'll all appreciate how it can actually draw. So after the 15-19 exchange, white again is very limited in what it can do, and it plays 32 to 27. Red can then play 7-10, anticipating a 2 for 2 coming up here. So after 27 to 24, 19 to 23, red is just going to walk in to get a king. 24 to 19, and now we have the 2 for 2 set up. Now again, red is just going to walk in to get a king, and it does so now. This was the ending that Asa feared, that its pieces would be trapped in the center of the board after white makes the 9 to 6 pitch here and gets a king. Red is going to move out of the way. And here there's a great strategy that red deploys, and it's going to abandon the piece on 11 by going 19 to 24. Now you may think, yeah, this piece is completely lost, but the timing is just right for red. White now is going to march toward the king row to capture this piece on 11. Red goes to 28, and now again, just the march. But instead of crowning again, red is going to move 31 to 27. White's going to crown, and then the saving move with 27 to 24. Now, red can exchange off in the next move because it has the safety of this piece on 28. So white then, there's really nothing more white can do. If it backs off, again, we just had this exchange, and it's a clear-cut draw. Really great strategy and a great tactical sequence to deploy here for red. All right, let's take a look at it now from white's perspective. So again, we have the Fife opening, and then the gambit line. And 3 for 2. And now, again, white is just going to cut down the advancing red pieces. And then this obscure and rare 21 to 17, but ultimately a good move. Again, tempting this 15-19, which will lose. And then again, this 15 to 19 now will draw, but 15 to 18 that was played in the game will lose. But again, aces still ended up drawing the game. And now 15 to 18, which allows the 9 to 6 pitch. And now breaking the king row here. Recapturing the piece to even up the board. And then, again, here we are at this critical point where the 6-10 was played to draw, but this 27 to 24 move will win. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I think this was an incredibly fascinating and exciting game, and I hope now you can start to use this great Fife opening, especially if you're an aggressive player. Use it, and I think you'll find yourself winning a lot of games. Thanks, as always, for watching.